All right, let's jump right in. This is 15 things that are somewhat expensive, but they're worth every single penny. And none of these paid me to be on this list. This is just literally from my experience and from some of my wealthy clients' experience that they've imparted their wisdom onto me. Number one is a gym membership. Obvious for health benefits, but even more so for those who care about finance and growth. Recently, someone built out an index that he's calling DEAD, and it is the Deadlift Index created by Truflation based on the idea that CEOs who lift weights outperform those who don't on the S&P 500. The index, which is not yet tracked by an ETF, merges fitness, trends, finance, and corporate performance. This thing has outperformed the S&P 500 by a significant 140% over the past 4 years. In this category, though, is also money that's just used to keep your body working and healthy over the years. For me, I spend money on the gym, but also chiropractic every month and body work or massage therapy every month. This is definitely not cheap, and it's usually one of my higher expenses overall for the month. But when I let my body get hurt and I don't stay on that maintenance and I can't perform at the highest level in jiu-jitsu or lifting weights or running, I don't feel like myself, and it creeps into other areas of my life like my work, and that throws me down big time. The next one on this list is crazy because it's going to get you more healthy, but it's also going to save you money at the same time. Number two is health as well, and this one is healthy food. Though it may seem more expensive to go get the healthy, good food at the grocery store rather than going through the aisles and getting the easy processed food, when you go and actually get that fresh produce and the fresh meats and different things like that, and you make it at the beginning of the week and then you have food for lunch or dinner all throughout the week, that's gonna save you so much money because going out to buy food is always gonna be more expensive. It's also gonna save you time because now you don't have to drive somewhere to go get the food and then eat it there and then come back. You can cut all of that out, keep working, and stay healthy at the same time. Better nutrition can lead to a better brain health, which helps you at work, in investing, with your family, and just overall in every way. These next three have to do with business specifically, or building your business, or just growing income streams. Number three is business outsourcing. Focus on what you need to do in order to keep your business flowing and try to give off other tasks to experts in that field. It's tough to let others help me in my businesses because I've been a bit of a perfectionist, but every time I've hired someone, they've let me be able to go and be freed up and go work on the things that I'm very good at within this business. And almost every time, that person that I hired is way better than I could have ever been at that specific piece of the business that was actually holding me down and taking me more time to work on that. To truly scale in your business and hit that next milestone, you need to work on your business, not just in your business. Number four is going right to the source. In CrossFit, I wanted to be the best, so I went to the best gymnastic coach and best strength coach because I knew they had 20 years of wisdom that I could download in a relatively short period of time. Recently in jiu-jitsu, I learned from black belts every day who have been working on this for the past 10 plus years. In business, I've had mentors and I've paid for coaches to help me in each one of my new respective industries. It seems like an expensive price tag to pay up front, but what you get and what reward I'd seen was 10x or 100x even from what I paid. You can't save pennies and walk away from dollars. That's just not how you're gonna grow. You can absolutely do most of this stuff by yourself. You can do a bunch of research. You could spend hours and days and weeks figuring stuff out, and you're gonna definitely learn the hard way and go through mistakes, and all of that, you'll probably come out the other side and be very successful, and that's amazing, but you can just get there quicker if you can find a mentor or somebody who's done it and who can give you all of that life skills that takes you maybe 10 years, maybe in a 1-year span, and that will all have been worth it. For some of you in investing, you may want an unbiased coach to sit with for an hour, and that's my full-time job outside of YouTube. Email me at ProfessorG.invest@gmail.com for a 1-hour Zoom consultation, and let's figure out your strategy in investing to set you up financially for life. Now this next one is so important, and many of us just take this one for granted, or we just take the first option that's right in front of us, and that could really mess a lot of you up. A while back, a friend of mine that's in the industry called me up to make sure that I had sufficient coverage for my house. I live here in California and we have fires and floods and other natural disasters. The problem was that a lot of these insurance companies were giving out home insurance, but the problem was that they were only insuring against one or two of these disasters and not against some of these other ones. So my guy figured out that my insurance specifically was only giving me protection on a couple of disasters, but specifically not fire, which is a problem, especially here in California. So he worked with me to get a wraparound policy because most of these insurance companies don't even just add on that protection, they just don't even insure against it. So you have to get another one to add to it. Then fast forward about a year, we have the craziest fires ever in LA and hundreds of homes burned down, and many of them had been canceled by their insurance or the insurance didn't even cover that disaster. So number 5 is insurance or just overall protection for your assets. Like I said before, nobody's paying for anything on this list that I'm talking about today, but I just wanted to give credit where credit's due. Because this guy saved me a bunch of money and a lot of other people a lot of money by going out of his way to make sure that we were protected. So I definitely just wanted to shout him out, and if you're in California, you need to hit him up. His name's Chris George at CJ Solutions and Insurance, and he's an expert in navigating the California insurance market and can help you find the right coverage at the best price. From property and general liability to workers' compensation, rising premiums and non-renewals are affecting businesses and property owners here in California. So definitely reach out to him because from experience, you just don't know what you don't know, and it's great to know an expert within the field that's actually there to help. His info is also going to be down in my description. Number 6 on this list is anything that's going to help buy convenience. This could be very similar to number 3 of business outsourcing and also number 4 of going right to the source, but the idea is that time is our most valuable asset. Anything that gives me more time with family or friends or to be able to get more healthy so that I have a little bit more time to do jujitsu or lift weights and just give that time back to me, I'm definitely going to take that option. If it comes down to it, I'm usually going to opt for whatever I need to pay for in order to give me just a little bit more convenience, a little bit more time to be able to do things that are important to me. Number 7 is clothing, specifically workout clothing, but also in business attire. So for me personally, it would be like Lululemon versus like a non-brand athletic apparel. I work out a lot, and with cheap gym clothes, I've seen that it actually costs me so much more money to go with the cheap option. Lululemon is kind of nuts, and it's like $70 for a pair of just regular shorts. But those regular shorts hold up and last the test of time and stick with you for a year, 2 years, and go through a bunch of washes, go through a bunch of stretch, and they never wear out. Cheap ones might be something like $15 or $20, but they only last like 3 months, they start ripping, they just mess up, and so if you're buying a new pair every quarter, that's going to add up, and that's going to be way more expensive than just going with the high level material. Another thing that I'd rather spend a lot more money on is premium level dress shirts, kind of like this one. This brand here is Untuck It, and it's one of my favorites. It stays very tight. The collar doesn't get all folded and messed up. I also really like Mizzen and Main. Both of those are very solid material. They're fitted, but not too fitted, and they stand the test of time. Number 8 is spending just a little bit more on a hotel or your vacation. First of all is just paying for and going on vacations regularly. You need to unpack and unwind. Anyone who knows me might classify me as a bit of a workaholic. I'd like to say that I just have goals and I like to reach them, but that does tend to mean that I'm working a little bit more than the normal person. Every time I do book a vacation, I do get just a little bit stressed knowing that I'm going to lose that week of work. But every single time that I come back from vacation, I feel totally renewed, my cup is full, and I actually work 5 times harder right when I get back. The other part of this, though, is the actual Airbnb or hotel stay. I always opt to pay a bit more for a location to be right in the heart of the city that I'm exploring. I love to immerse myself in the culture and hype of what that town has to offer, and I really like to just be able to walk outside and explore. By doing this, I'm also saving money on needing a rental car because I'm right there and I can just walk around. And this leads us to number 9, which is unique experiences. If you're in Bali, go ride an elephant. If you're in Costa Rica, go to the jungle. If you're in Nashville, go get some hot chicken and live the country Nashville life downtown. I've never spent money on an experience and not felt like it was worth it. My fiance and I went to Utah last winter. And when we were there, we went to where they actually have the Olympic luge and bobsled course. It costs an obscene amount of money to go do it, but she's as crazy and adventurous as I am, so we went and did it. It was so much money for like 45 seconds worth of thrill going down this actual bobsled. And when we got to the bottom, we kind of looked at each other and just said, that's it. But we also both agreed that it was very cool to do something that we see on TV during the Olympics and to just have that experience. So even an experience that wasn't necessarily the best thing in the world was just cool to go and do with her, and it's a memory that we have forever. Number 10 is a decent car. I didn't say a totally new car or a luxury vehicle, but just a decent working car. I do believe that one of the most stressful things is that when you expect your vehicle to work or to get you from point A to point B and it doesn't do so, that just disrupts your entire life. Also, if you opt for a very, very cheap vehicle because somebody told you that it's best to get used and just to spend as little amount of money as possible up front, you're probably gonna have to spend money on maintenance every couple of months, and not only the money itself, but also the time of having it in the shop or whatever it may be. Again, disrupting your entire life, it's gonna cost way more in the long run. Paying slightly more for a lightly used car is just gonna be so much better than paying the absolute least for a total junker. Number 11 is just all about mental health, like therapy or mindfulness. I know a lot of us big, strong guys out here have a really tough time with this. Being completely transparent, I was terrible at this. I like to think and convince myself that I have everything under control and that I'm good, but usually I don't. I was blessed with a lot of analytical and business and leadership and athletic abilities, but there was one huge thing that I was missing, and that was emotional intelligence for quite some time. I started doing some therapy and also reading some books that were outside the finance niche. And since then, I've become much more well-rounded just in general, and I've built out a great deal of empathy, and I'm very, very grateful that I've done this. Doing all of this has helped fill my cup, and I feel much more balanced, so I can keep working at that high pace that I enjoy because I do like to achieve, but now I'm not burning out quite as fast. Number 12 is education. And as a professor, I definitely have to throw this one out there, but I'm not actually talking about academic education. Even though that's great for a lot of you, that's not exactly what I mean. I more so mean being a lifelong learner. Socrates famously said, "The more I learn, the less I know." This has been so true for me, and I just love to watch documentaries on random things just to learn, or I like to read blogs or books or watch YouTube channels. I really like etfrc.com to look into different types of ETFs and looking at the different research to see fund overlap. I also really like investing.com, as I love to use the AI Pro Picks to start my research and see what companies or trends are on fire to keep my eye on. I also love to read anything from the Stoics, and my favorite books have been Letters from a Stoic by Seneca, and then also The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Game changers. This next one is for those of you that work from random places or that travel a lot. So number 13 is noise canceling headphones, but specifically the ones that go over the ears. If you're like me and travel a fair amount or just like to get out in the world rather than being in an office all day, you need something to keep you focused and dialed in. I found that the more expensive brands like Beats specifically do a very good job of canceling all the outside noise, even if you don't want to listen to music or something. I also like to use these when I go to the gym, like a traditional gym, to get a lift in, to just kind of cancel out the rest of the world and just focus in on what I'm doing. Number 14 is a wireless phone charger, but not one of those cheap ones, one that actually works. Our world is run by our phones and you're pretty much lost without it. So for me, something that's invaluable when I travel or just when I'm at the university all day and need to make sure and keep my phone alive is a very solid wireless phone charger. Number 15, my favorite piece of equipment at home is my desk. But not really my desk, my standing desk attachment. Sitting all day is a quick way to gain unwanted fat and to weaken the core. It also jacks up your back long term. I take my meetings from standing, edit my videos standing, and write emails standing. I also love moving the attachment all around the house so that I can work from different areas just to change up the scenery. I love it when I have a private financial coaching meeting and I take it from standing. It just feels like I have more energy to be able to give to my client. And if that sounds good to you and you'd like to have a Zoom meeting with me in the next couple of weeks, email me at ProfessorG.invest@gmail.com. Let's get you set up on a strategy that's going to work well for you so you can go right to the source and we can figure all this out in 1 hour. Then watch either of these 2 videos to keep you going strong in your investing journey. And remember to keep investing simplified.